In this video, we're going to talk about job cards and their importance throughout the production process. Job cards can be found in a variety of different places, and they're used to schedule one or more line items into a particular workflow and monitor and guide those line items from start to finish in the manufacturing process. So in this case over here, you can see that we have multiple line items. Now each line item is considered its own job, but you can combine line items with like properties that would go through the exact same workflow into a single job, and we'll do that in a moment. So first of all, what you have to do here before you do anything is you have to make sure that you have a workflow assigned to a line item or a job, and you have to make sure that there's an order due date in the order itself in order for us to schedule each of those line items in its workflow automatically. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose acrylic signs, and I'm going to do that for each one of the line items that we have here in the order itself, and they'll all go through the same workflow. Now in this case, I'm going to click on the first one, and let's take a look what a job card looks like. You can see at the top here I have the order information, order number, line item, some information about the quantities, who the customer is, the order date, and then the order due date, okay? Then you also see that I have the assigned workflow, so if I need to change this for any reason I can, and I can click update. And I can also group line items. So before I go any further with that, let's go ahead and group some line items. So I'm going to click on grouping line items, and it will find the other items that share the exact same workflow. So again, you would group like items that would go through the exact same workflow. Maybe one or two can skip a particular process, like a department like maybe vinyl, where that's not applicable to two items. Should be noted as well, and you can skip those in some cases. But ideally, I want to send all of these products, all four of them, through the exact same workflow. So allow me to do that. I'll click Group Line Items. You sure you want to do this? Yes. All right, now I've grouped the line items, and you can see I have each of the quantities over here that I'm going to be running through, with total quantities down here equaling 600, okay? If I need to and I made a mistake at any point, I can ungroup one of these. I won't for this exercise, but if I need to pull that out, I can definitely do that and ungroup and eject this from this particular workflow and then reassign that and schedule that separately. Okay, the next thing I can do over here is I can edit my work centers. That gives me the ability to start with a common workflow, in this case for acrylic signs, but if I need to change something along the way, like remove a specific department, I can go ahead and do that. And if I want to add another department, I can go ahead and do that too. And if I want to move departments around, I can do that too, okay? So I have those abilities. The other thing I can also do is view in card mode, okay, and see a sort of vertical look at all of the departments that are in production right now. And again, I have the exact same controls, and I can see what's been started, what's been completed, and so on. And we'll come back to this in just a minute. And then finally, I have notes, okay? And we can add some notes in here if we want to, okay? So if I want to add a note, then in the work center itself, this will now be included below this particular item, okay? So it flags it with a note for some important information that maybe somebody needs to know about when working on this job in this department. Okay, down below what I have here is each of my stages with all of the work centers underneath it. One thing to note is you'll see the colors off to the side here are the bands that are the same colors that are used in the production dashboard. So as different statuses change, these will be called out. It's a little bit easier to see. You'll see that in just a moment. Here I have the status as pending. We haven't started anything yet. Over here I have my quantity of 600. Nothing has been scheduled. And you can see I have some estimated timing over here based on my work center setup matched up with the quantities that are going through. So this is how long it'll take in certain areas. And then I can see the total duration of how much time it was spent in the work center. I can override this if I need to by just clicking on something and making those changes. And of course I have my controls. So the first thing I want to do here is go over here and click auto schedule. Okay, so when I auto schedule, you'll see here that I have a start date, and this is going to be today's date. I'm going to move that to tomorrow, and we're going to start at 7 a.m. Okay, so I'm going to click schedule, and now this is going to auto schedule all of the departments based on the criteria that are set up in the work centers and based on the due date that this job is actually going to be required to be completed. Okay, so you can see that the due date I set in the order was for September 30th. This is going to be finished way before that. Okay, now if I need to, I can go ahead and I can make adjustments to this. So I can say something like this, apply this, and it'll make the changes accordingly. And you can now see that the mode is manual. So this goes to show me that somebody manually updated this time as opposed to the auto schedule that took place here. The red indicates that this is late based on when it should be scheduled, and those parameters all determined within the actual work center itself. So what I can do now is I can start this. I can start this in the work center. This is also the equivalent of scanning the job in with a barcode reader in the production job board, but I can manually start it and stop it here. Okay, and now you can see that I have an in progress and the little green bar off to the side. Okay, all right. If I need to, I can also skip a work center if it's not applicable in this particular job instance. Okay, so this is a standard item in the workflow that's usually going to be used, but I can override that and say that it's not applicable here. If I made a mistake, I can just click the unlock and it will restore these buttons for me. Now, when I want to pause a job, or if there's a problem with the job, I can click stop. And when I click stop, it says that it's stopped. It turns this red so production managers can see in the production dashboard that there are some issues with this particular job. If I want to complete it at this point, I can click complete, and it'll display the number of minutes, hours, etc. it took to complete the job. You can also see that it was done over here, so we're all on the same page. If I need to override this for whatever reason, then I can go ahead and do that, and then I can click save. Okay? Now I've updated this. All right, in my card view over here, I can now see that completed jobs are collapsed, and I can expand them along viewing the note down below, etc. So if you prefer to work in this screen, you can do the same. You get some of the same controls that you do here. You just get a little bit more information displayed on screen here, but it's just displayed differently in the card view itself. Okay? All right. If you want to reset everything that you see on screen and you're not happy with it, too many mistakes were made and you have to start from scratch, you can delete the schedule. If you delete the schedule, it will erase everything that's here and allow you to start from the beginning again. So you just want to make sure that when you click delete, it's going to ask you down here, are you sure you want to delete the schedule? And if you say yes, then you'll go ahead and delete the schedule. Okay, so it's just another confirmation that you need to make absolute sure that you're ready to delete that schedule 100%. Okay, now there's another thing that you can do. I actually am going to show you this by deleting the schedule, clicking this here. Okay, now I've not scheduled anything. And assuming that in this case over here, we're going to go back to the line items, and what I'm going to do in this instance here is ungroup them, one by one. I'm going to ungroup them. See, my quantities are shrinking here. Okay, and now I'm going to close this. When we look at our order, it's how we first looked at it, with multiple line items and they're all going through the same workflow. Let's assume for a moment that maybe these aren't supposed to be together, even though they have the same workflow, or let's assume that there are some other workflows that I might want to put this through. So for example, I can look at photopolymer signs and click update. Okay? Now, in the case where I may have a lot of line items, and let's just say that I've gone ahead and combined some of these, etc., I can do that up front, and then when I'm done, I can actually go to auto schedule the entire order from this screen. So rather than do the scheduling in each one of these, which may be necessary in some instances, but in this case here, you can also auto schedule, choose your start date, and then click schedule. Now all of these items have been auto-scheduled, but as individual jobs instead of one group of line items going through. They're now separate line items as separate jobs going through the shop with their own dates, okay? So you can find job cards in a variety of different places. The first place you can find them obviously is going to be in the production order like you're seeing them here. Job cards are also accessible directly from the job board. So when you click on any one of the work centers for that line item or that group, you'll be able to pull up the information here, start, complete, skip, and so on and so forth. So this is where you're managing that information directly from the actual job board itself. And finally is going to be in the schedule. So if you open up a particular order, you can see the job details down below. This has been unscheduled, but if you click show, then the job card appears. You can go ahead and auto schedule. And now it appears on the job calendar. Okay? So that is job cards. For more information about our production process, be sure to check out some of our other videos, including the production job board, job scheduling, and production orders, and ready for production. Thanks for watching.